Hey people, you found the HillBilly Voodoo channel. I got this really weird problem going on here today. There's absolutely nothing in the middle of my shop. Yeah, there's like a clear path all the way through my shop. Anybody who knows me knows that this is not a real thing. This never happens. Ever. I haven't seen this floor this clean in probably 20 years. So, what am I going to do about this problem? Watching YouTube last night, I seen some dudes ripping around on these little drift cart things. I thought, hey, that looks pretty fun. I've been having a whole lot of fun lately, so maybe I should do something like that. That dude on Low Buck Garage says if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong, so I must be doing something wrong. Anyways, I think I'm gonna go wander around out and check out all my piles of ground ubtainium and see if I can build myself one of those little drift cart thingies. Or at least pile a bunch of junk on this floor so I stop twitching like a freak here. Well, let's go find some stuff and see what we can make with it. Well, I'm feeling slightly better about the situation here now. At least I got some of the floor plugged up. I found some tires and wheels. There's 4 of them there, so I guess we can make a cart instead of a trike. I also found some pieces of pipe from the uprights on an old trampoline, and that right there is a chunk of old water pipe, galvanized water pipe. Found a tractor seat. Actually, I found 2 tractor seats. Don't think we need 2 seats, but anyways, a motor and some really big pillow block bearings. So what I'm thinking here is we're going to use that chunk of galvanized pipe as the rear axle. Gonna have to build some type of hubs for those wheels because they're just like a bolt through type wheel, and we need to actually power the wheel to make the wheel spin and make us slide all over the place. I don't have a clutch of any type for that motor, so I think we're gonna have to build some type of slippy belt drive type thing with some pulleys and whatever else we can find around here. While I was packing in this motor, I found a steering wheel laying out in one of those piles out there. And yeah, I think we're going to use those trampoline pipes as the frame. They're pretty thin, but it's not going to be a very big frame, and if they're too thin, well, we can always double them up or something like that. And okay, well, I think the next order of business is to drag in some sawhorses here so I'm not slithering around on the ground, and maybe build a frame, or start building a frame and make a bunch of pipes look like a frame. Anyways, let's do that. Found some more random scraps of steel out there. I'm gonna make some spindles, steering spindles out of these. I guess it'd be the steering knuckle. The spindle will be the part that the wheel attaches to. But anyways, I'm gonna drill some holes through here, and the knuckle will be welded onto this front axle type thing. We got some mad camber going on there, so that should work. I'll drill a hole through. The spindle will go in there. I'll chop that off, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, why is this crazy old dude building a drift cart? Well, for all you young buggers out there, drifting used to be a thing that you did just to get to work in the winter. Why do you think it's called drifting? You were trying to keep yourself out of the snow drifts, not just trying to bugger around. And for any of you old buggers out there that remember the days before ABS and traction control and everybody having to have a 4-wheel drive, well, you'll remember the thrill of trying to get to work and holding onto the seat cushion with your butt cheeks and trying not to slide into the semi coming towards you at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But I think that the thrill of that is what's kind of driving me to build this, because there was quite a bit of adrenaline happening there. And yeah, well, enough yapping. I'm gonna go drill some holes in these things, weld them on there at the same angle, and then start building the frame. Got my front end in there and my frame kind of sort of started. the engine up there where I'm probably going to be, and I threw my shoe up there for measurement to make sure that I'm going to have room to put my feetses. So I'll put some crossbar probably right about there, and then another one back here, and then figure out where I'm going to build the hoops to go over the top here to mount the tractor seat on. Kind of looks like might be a real thing. Kind of looks like the one I saw on YouTube bombing around. Well, not really. His was kind of nice and pretty, and mine looks like a bunch of stuff I just drug out of a pile, but who cares? It's going to work. It's going to be cool, and I'm going to have fun. So I'll cut myself some bars here, weld them in place, and then decide how I'm going to mount. Well, maybe I'll work on the axle first, because that's probably a really important thing. I could always sit on top of the engine if I needed to, but you can't really go anywhere without an axle and wheels. So yeah, that's what we'll go with next. We'll put some crossbars in there so that frame is kind of sort of done, and then we'll figure out how we're going to put an axle in there. Well, maybe I'll put my shoe on first because something kind of smells funny in here, but yeah, okay. Got our rear axle mounted in here. It's just kind of tacked in there. I cut some pieces of angle iron and bolted it down. It's not totally where well, it might be where I want to keep it. I haven't decided whether I'm going to move it forward a little bit more yet or not. So it's just tacked in there anyway, so it'll give us an idea of where it's supposed to be. I think I'm going to move on to making some spindles for the front so I can put some wheels on it, and then I can actually measure the wheelbase and what kind of turning angles and stuff I have. So found this chunk of old broken Toyota axle. I'm pretty sure it's been annealed already. It looks like I've stuck it in the wood stove at least once, so hopefully it will be soft enough that I can drill through and make the little upright pieces for the spindle. I'm going to go cut 2 pieces and stick it in the lathe and see if I can bore a hole through it. I managed to get me some spindles built there out of that chunk of broken Toyota axle. Got the whole board through, got it spun out. Took a chunk of, I don't even know what the heck that was, but just another piece of round stock I had. I drilled a hole in the end of it, put a bolt in there, welded it up, turned it down for an axle. Haven't quite figured out the whole threading process with my lathe yet, so that's why I used a bolt, but it's doing what I need it to. So got our spindle in there, that's on like that. We can take our wheel, stick it on the end. If you look at it, we got some pretty good camber going on there. Is it perfect? No, but it's within, I don't know, probably half a degree or so. Kind of looks all wonky here the way I'm sitting, but that's okay. I actually put a little bit of thought into my Ackerman angle for my steering. Did I get it perfect? No, but it's close enough. We got some pretty mad tilt there for the steering, so should be good enough for the girls I go with anyways. So now that we got front wheels on this thing and we got somewhat of steering, I haven't built a link there for that yet because I'm going to have my steering wheel in here somewhere, and I'll figure all that out when I get that part in. But I think we're gonna have to start working on the back axle there now. And this is what we got going on with this back axle here. We just got an axle. There's nothing on here, nothing to hold the wheel on here. And this is the wheel that we have. It's got a bearing in the center, which we don't really need, but it's there already. So somehow we're gonna have to build a flange, probably drill some holes through this rim so we can bolt it on. We'll build a flange that bolts on there, goes over the top of that, goes onto that. Is anybody kind of following me here? Like, I'm trying to explain this, but I don't know if it's really coming out of my mouth the way that I'm wanting to. So this will go on like that. There'll be a flange that bolts onto there, goes over the top of here, probably keys into this axle somehow. Yeah, that's kind of my idea that's going on right now. Maybe it'll make sense when I actually build it, but I got this piece of pipe here. I'm gonna bore it out to the size that I need to fit over here. So it'll be like that on that axle. There'll be a flange. Ooh, I bet you everybody's getting all seasick here with my camera. There'll be a flange around here, holes drilled through. Wheel will bolt onto the flange, just like a car axle, I guess. So let's make some pieces here and put it together, and I'll show you what I'm meaning. This is what I got figured out here. This is gonna go over, wrong side. It's gonna go over there like that. This thing here is gonna be the flange. That's gonna weld on to the end of that. And we'll drill the wheels to match that bolt pattern there. Now, the thing that I'm kind of trying to figure out here is how to keep this from spinning on here. Well, the thing that first came into my mind, and probably going to be the easiest, is I'm going to drill 3 holes through it, thread those holes so that I can put bolts. Yeah, gotta clean that up. Anyways, so that I can put bolts through into this next pipe. I'll drill the holes all the way through, thread the outside. So that should lock that on there. I could pull the bolts out, pull that collar off, that flange, and be able to still pull the bearings out. I was thinking of doing a keyed type thing and blah, 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 but all that's pretty thin. And this seems like a way simpler way of doing it. Whether it's gonna work or not, who the hell knows, but we're gonna try this out, and if it works, well, then I'll be a hero, and if it doesn't work, well, I guess I can always edit it out and nobody will ever see it, and nobody will ever know that it didn't work, right? Right, okay. So let's drill some holes, thread them, and see what's gonna happen here. This is what we ended up with here. Drilled the holes through our flange pipe thingy, threaded them, drilled through into the axle. So that's on there like super tight. I can't see that ever moving or whatever. Welded the flange on there, drilled some holes through the rim, bolted the rim on there, goes around and around. It's fairly straight. The rim itself is not super awesome and straight because these wheels came off of a bunch of hand trucks that were going to the garbage, and I scavenged them and managed to make 2 good hand trucks. Well, there's one out there in the driveway, but I managed to make 2 good hand trucks out of the 6 or so that I brought home, and saved all the wheels. So that's what the wheels are from. So if you're liking this type of content, you should probably subscribe so that you don't have to go wandering through all the other shows that are out there, and you can watch something that you actually want to watch and maybe give me a thumbs up. This project's obviously going to turn into a multiple part viewing pleasure experience for you, because Although I don't have a huge amount of hours into it this week, probably only about maybe 5 in total. As you can see, the weather's starting to get more spring-like out there, and the garden and all the animals and everything kind of took precedence over my time this week. So probably going to leave this video here. Next video, we're going to build some pulleys, mount the engine, put a seat on it, and finish up the steering, and maybe we'll take it for a ride. But until then, everybody, use what you got to make what you want, and I'll see you next time.